Howdy, howdy, howdy folks, and welcome back to another Project Nexus modding tutorial. In today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to get custom sounds into the game. So without further ado, let's get started. The first thing you're going to need is a program called FMOD. FMOD is a program that is typically used by developers for Unity games because it makes getting those sounds into the game a little bit easier. But for our cases, we're going to be using FMOD because that's what Project Nexus uses, so we have to use that particular program in order to get our sounds into the game. So let's go ahead and open up FMOD. You are going to need FMOD Studio version 1.10.11. It will not work with any other version of FMOD Studio, so make sure you have this version installed. So let's go ahead and open it. So I have a project here I named Test Project because that's the project I'm going to be using for our particular tutorial. But the one that you downloaded will be called mpn fmod sample project, and I believe the zip file it comes in is mpn fmod modder project, I believe. I'll leave a download link down in the description below so that you can go ahead and easily download that and get started. So make sure that you when you first get into FMOD, you hit Open Project and then locate where that project is in your files or on your desktop, for example, and open up that project. So let's go ahead and open it. Alright, so this is the project that we will be using. If you opened yours and got a couple errors, don't fret, just click through them, they don't matter. They're not, you didn't download the wrong version, it's actually supposed to do that. But I think in my case it just hasn't done that because I already preemptively made this project earlier. But now let's go about getting our sounds into FMOD. So I have a sound that I want to use. I believe it's in my quick access. Yes, bonk sound effect. Let's get bonk sound effect into here. So when we put this sound effect into FMOD, you'll get this little screen here. You have two types of events. You have a 2D event and a 3D event. If you are doing stuff like weapon sounds, character voices, gunshots, basically any sound that would play because of a weapon or the character interacting with the world, that is going to be a 3D event. If you are adding in music, that is going to be a 2D event. But for our cases, we're adding in weapon sounds, so we're going to make a 3D event. So we'll just hit create. And there we have it, our bonk sound effect. Let's go ahead and play it. And as we can see, it's working. I think the sound effect is a little loud though, so make sure you adjust the volume of your sound effect to ensure that it is not too quiet or too loud in the game. Because if it's too loud, well, the people who download your mod are not going to have a great time because that sound is going to be way too loud and it's going to be annoying. And you don't want it to be too quiet because then they're not going to hear the sound. So make sure you adjust the volume accordingly. You kind of click on this little knob here and then you move your mouse up or down in order to adjust the volume. I think that is a perfectly fine volume though, so I think we will leave that as is. Now we're going to create a new folder, and we're just going to call it bonk, and we're going to put our bonk sound effect in that folder. Now that we have all of the sounds we're going to be using into FMOD, of course, if you're going to be using multiple different types of sounds, say you've got like 5 different gunshots, or 5 different sword swing sound effects, or 5 different character voice lines that could possibly play, you're going to drag all of those sounds. Typically, say if you have the 5 different character voices that could play, and those sounds are going to play as like a pain noise or a laugh or a cheer sound effect, then you want 5 of those cheer sound effects and you want to drag them into here, and then you'll get a little pop-up that asks you if you want to create a multi-instrument. Yes, you want to do that because if you do that, then Project Nexus will actually take from that multi-instrument and be able to play any of those sounds in kind of a random order. So again, if you have 5 different gunshot sound effects and the gun is pulling from a multi-instrument that contains 5 different gunshot sound effects, then it will play one of those 5 sound effects every time the trigger is pulled. So you can absolutely do multiple sounds, just kind of in one multi-instrument, and tie that to like one weapon or one character, depending on what you're doing. But in our case, we're only going to use one sound effect, so we are going to right-click this and hit Assign to Bank, and we're going to hit New Bank. And then we're going to call that bank bonk, bonk.bank. So this now contains our bonk sound effect. There it is. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hit File, Build. And then we're going to hit File again and export GUIDs. I'll show you why we did that in a second. But now what we're going to do is find where our project is, and I have mine in FMOD test, test project, build, desktop, and you are going to need all 3 of these files. So copy them, and then you should probably have a mod already. I have one just called test mod. I have test melee and a pistol here, and we're going to create a new folder, and we're just going to call it sound. And we're going to put our sounds in there. You don't have to put them in their own folder. I just like to do it because it keeps things tidy. Now what we're going to do is we are going to go back to our where we exported our sounds, and you'll see a text file called GUIDs. Open that up and you'll see that you have something here called event bonk bonk sound effect, or whatever you named your folder or whatever you named your bank. It's going to appear here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back into our mod folder, and we're going to get one of our weapons. In my case, I have this pistol here. And here in sound path, this is the sound effect that I want to play whenever the gun fires. So we're going to paste the bonk sound effect. So now every time I shoot this gun in the game, it is going to play that cartoon bonk sound effect. And if you want to do this for a melee weapon, it's a little more complicated, but I'll show you. You are going to need a MAD card called a sound pack. This is what a sound pack MAD card looks like. And you might be like, Zap, I don't even know how to get a sound pack. Like, what are you talking about? You can use this program called MAD Card Maker. You can make your own mod. In this case, I'm just going to call it Test. Mod it up. And then we're going to hit this green plus sign. Or wait, no, wrong one. We're going to hit the yellow gear. And then we're going to add a new deck. We'll just name it Test. Name the entry. Hit the green arrow again. And then here you can make your own sound pack. And then you will be able to have a sound pack MAD card right here. You can use this program to fill this out with whatever sounds you want. But in my case, I don't need to do that. So we're not going to do any of that. And we're just going to close the MAD card maker because I already have a sound pack right here. So name, that's just the name of it. You don't necessarily have to name this anything. I'll just name it bonk. File name, I would name yours soundpack underscore whatever the name the bank file is in FMOD. So in our case, we'll just call it soundpack underscore bonk. Description, you can put anything in here. In our case, we'll just put bonk. So now that we have named this soundpack underscore bonk, you want to make sure that your melee weapon has a category in it called usage sounds, and you want to put the file name of your sound pack in here. So that is going to let the game know that this melee weapon is using these sounds. But obviously we need some sounds here, so let us go and get the bonk sound effect event, and we're just going to put it in every single category here, and I'll explain what these do. But just give me a moment while I put them all in here. Drop, equip. Generally speaking, if you're reading these, you've probably already figured out what they do. But I'll explain them anyway, just for posterity, if I can highlight all of that. There we go. So, hit. This is the sound effect that is going to play whenever this melee weapon hits an enemy. That's pretty much it. It's just going to play whenever you hit an enemy. Hit light. Oh wait, no. This is the sound that'll play when you hit an enemy with a heavy attack. Hit light will play when you hit an enemy with a light attack. So if you press left click and you hit an enemy, it'll play this sound effect. If you are holding shift and press left click and hit an enemy, it'll play this sound effect. Swing. This is the sound effect that will play whenever you like heavily swing the weapon. So if you hold shift, do a heavy swing, this sound effect will play. Swing light. This is the sound effect that will play whenever you just swing the weapon. Normally, if you're doing like a light attack, this is the sound that will play as you're swinging the weapon. Block. So this is the sound effect that will play whenever you block something with this weapon. So if this weapon blocks a bullet, it'll play this sound effect. But it will also play whenever you hit a wall or a living NPC object in the game. So this is also the sound that plays when you just strike a wall or a random object. So that's also worthy of note. Drop. This is the sound that plays when you drop the weapon and it hits the ground. It will also play when you throw the weapon and the weapon hits a wall or something. Equip. This is the sound effect that will play when you pick up the weapon or swap to it. So say you have the weapon on your back. If you were to swap to this weapon, it would play this sound effect. And stow. In my experience, this sound effect does not do anything. Normally I'm pretty sure it would play when you put a weapon away. But for me, it's never played that sound effect. So as far as I know, this doesn't actually do anything. But just for safety, I typically put a sound there anyway. I typically make it the same as whatever the drop sound effect is. So I'm going to change the name of this weapon to Test Melee. And then we're going to save it because now we have everything. So now that our sounds are in the game, let's boot her up. Alrighty then, let's make sure our mods here are enabled. I'm going to need to enable that because I'm pretty sure test mod is reliant on it, as well as this one. But in your case, if you're using like a vanilla melee weapon model, you won't need to enable any other mods for it to work. But so we're going to go and into our pistols here, and uh-oh, seems like test pistol isn't appearing. Alright, what about our melee weapon? We might be here. Yeah, okay, so test melee. Let's see if that's working. Yeah. Oh, it's so stupid. Oh, but it's so good. But yeah, that's the basic idea behind getting a weapon in the game. I knew it was going to be stupid, but I didn't think it would be that stupid. That's awesome. Oh, man. Okay, I have to test it out on some enemies. I have to. Give me a second. Oh, it's so dumb. But yes, if you're making a mod and you need sound effects for a melee weapon, that is how you put that particular type of sound effect in the game. Let me see. Let me go and look at my weapon, my ranged weapon, and see if I screwed anything up there. Alright, so I figured out what the problem was. The test pistol had the same file name as another pistol, so they were overriding each other. But now that I've changed the file name, let's see if it works. Yeah, it does. Okay, so that is how you get a custom sound effect into Project Nexus. that's just about going to do it for this tutorial. It's a much easier, much shorter, much simpler tutorial. But yeah, I think in a later tutorial I might cover how to get custom music into the game so you could play it here in the playground or get it into a stage. And of course in another tutorial I will show you how to get a custom projectile into the game. But that's going to do it for this tutorial, so thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.